Hey everyone. So I've been playing Hearthstone since I guess December of 2015. Decided to get it because one of my buddies started playing it. I was kind of avoiding it simply because I knew it was a free-to-play model, but that you could buy packs, and I was very weary about going down that slippery slope. I know the way I am once I can do microtransactions. I won't say go a bit crazy, but yeah, I go a bit crazy sometimes with microtransactions. I don't drink coffee. I don't buy alcohol. I don't smoke. So I always see it as an excuse for me to spend more money on games. So it's like, oh well, I don't buy coffee daily. So like that $3 cup of coffee that I've technically not bought for the last week means I could buy $15 worth of packs. That's usually how I used to fund my Magic the Gathering, not hobby but like collection. So I just wanted to go through my feelings on Hearthstone and what it's been like, I guess, these 6 months. I'm, coming from Magic the Gathering, and even especially on Magic the Gathering forums or on Reddit or even on YouTube channels, there's always a lot of comparison from the Magic community about Hearthstone, and it's kind of seen as the boogeyman of of trading card games. There's obviously Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, what's that other one? Force of Will, and there's a few others. But definitely Hearthstone is making waves. It was released about 2 years ago. I want to tell you guys where my head is at and what the pros and cons are of Hearthstone. I'll also do another video on Magic the Gathering players and why they should look at Hearthstone as not an alternative, but just something else to play. I don't think that each platform or each game should be exclusive to a certain player. There's no reason why you can't play both or more. So with that said, we'll start with the cons. So, and these aren't in a particular order. My main gripe, I guess, would be the connectivity issues. So because this is online only game, you're at the mercy of whatever connection speed of the opponent you're playing against or of whatever the servers are at. I'm not a huge techie guru. The connectivity issues might just be due to the fact of Blizzard servers, so who knows? All I know is that there are some games where I actually can't finish turns because the lag is so bad, and there's other games where I see my opponent not really doing anything, and then he times out, and then he rejoins the game, and so on and so forth. So that has happened to me, and that means that for that game, it's not an enjoyable experience. You're getting frustrated. I play mostly on my iPhone, but definitely when I play on when I play on my iPhone and it's happening to me, I kind of want to chuck my iPhone across the room, and cooler heads prevail. And I keep it firmly in my hand. But yeah, it's definitely a frustrating experience to have to deal with that. I don't know what the remedy is. It's just that's what it is. I know that they update patches sometimes. I get the patch notes on my iPhone, and usually connectivity issues or lag latencies and stuff like that are addressed in them, but I consistently see them through the updates, and I'm able to game through on my Xbox One and my PlayStation 4 without problems. So to have an issue, and especially an issue on my iPhone or on my Mac, it creates an annoying feeling. I don't think it's attributed to my own internet connection, because I do play like Clash Royale and a few other handheld games, and I don't have the same lag issues or internet connectivity issues. Another one are the timeouts. So I guess kind of dealing with the connectivity issues like I mentioned. Sometimes you just get booted from a game, and then it tries to reconnect you, and if it's successful, great, but you've probably missed a few turns. So I've had instances where I'm blowing the person out of the water, and then I come back and all my stuff's gone, and I'm at like 5 life, and it's kind of like, what the hell? And you don't find out that you've been booted until like you still think you're playing, and then all of a sudden you're just booted, and it's saying that it's trying to reconnect, and sometimes you have to restart your app or whatever. It's an annoying process that would cause my desire to launch my phone. At times, and I guess another gripe, is the game feels too random. And what I mean by that is there are a lot of cards that offer random effects. So as you're watching the gameplay here, there's either if it's not a battle cry, but like a discover, where you can pick one of 3 different cards. Sometimes the cards are great. Sometimes the cards are either crap. and you know, it's kind of the gamble when you play that card. But the fact is that I'm gonna run some numbers. It's not gonna be in this video, but I'm gonna see exactly what's the percentage of random cards in Hearthstone, because it feels like it's pretty high. And there's just so many random effects that you're kind of almost shoehorned into playing. Like there are some great archetypes that don't have that many random effects, whether they're spells or from creatures or whatever. It's just that you want your play, like a card game is in its essence a bit random. Like that's what's great about it. You're not going to play the same game twice. But when it's kind of like depending on these random bombs that you get, or that can make or break your actual game, then it's, you know, it's kind of crappy when, you know, you're dropping like, let's say like a 9-drop legendary, like, I don't know, like Goblin Dude and then your opponent, he's playing the exact same card and he ends up getting a 1/1 Murloc. So it's like, you know, great, it works out for me, but it's kind of shitty, like we are having a great game up until then, and then you kind of just got the short end of the stick. Another con to it is the limited formats. So they just introduced standard and wild. So at one point, because the game is fairly new, there is only really one competitive way of playing it, and that was, you know, through the battle and laddering system. Now I do realize that there are stuff like Tavern Brawl. There's the like single player questing that you can do. There's the drafting. There's a few different ways of playing, but when I look at like a game like Magic the Gathering, and you know, you can play standard, you can play modern, you can play commander, you can play variants of commander. There's Pauper, Plane Chase, Arch Enemy. Like there's so much, and you know, it's not a fair assessment because Magic's been around for, you know, over 20 years, and Hearthstone's been around for like 2 years. So I think with time, like those game types will come, or not game types, but formats. But at this point, like it is a con. Like it's, you know, calling a spade a spade. I have no doubt that Blizzard will find other great ways of implementing Hearthstone and keeping it fresh and new, like Magic has been able to do. It's just at this time, like sometimes like I don't want to play in the Tavern Brawl. Sometimes I don't want to play a regular game, and I always do, not always, but like most of the time I don't want to play single player. Like, you know, it is great to kill the time, or if you really don't have anything to do. But sometimes I want to play Hearthstone, but I want something different. Now the next one is kind of it's in the pros, but in the cons as well, and it's the turn time limits. So it's great that there's like, you know, I think it's like a minute that you have to actually play your turn, because it forces people to actually speed up and better their judgment making ability. So like you have to really identify what you want to do on this turn, and if it's something that you get better at the more you play. Now that's not the problem. That's great. What the problem is sometimes you legitimately have a lot of things to do in a turn, and you're at the mercy of the way the connection is performing at that time. So what that means is that if I'm playing a card where I then have to choose, you know, one of 3 different cards from a Discover ability, I have to wait for those cards to pop up. I have to choose the card. Sometimes it takes a few seconds for the card to disappear so I can continue with the rest of my turn. Other times I need to try to attack with multiple creatures, and it doesn't let me choose what I want to do with the rest of my turn until some certain animations have gone. And at that point, when it's a jam-packed turn, I'm then forced to kind of like run out my whole turn, and I might not be able to do everything I need to do. But on that flip side, it speeds up the game. Like that minute or minute and a half that you have to do a turn really makes it so the games are quick and easy to just jump into. You know, if you're waiting in line at like Starbucks and you want to hammer out a game because there's a long line, you can. Like that's a great pro. Now with the pros. The first one is it's free to play. You can't beat free. Obviously, as I mentioned, you can do microtransactions, so you can buy packs, you can buy quests, and it's a great way of, you know, kind of speeding up your collection. I'm quite proud of myself. I haven't purchased a pack yet. I don't foresee myself doing that. I feel like I've gotten to a point where I don't need to purchase anything, because I'm going to get enough dust from just all the free packs that I get. So like, you know, you do your quests throughout the day that give you gold. Every 3 wins gives you gold. It gives you 10 pieces of gold, and packs are 100 coins, right? So I'm getting about a pack every 2 days, and sometimes more depending on what the challenge is. I sometimes get 2 packs a day, and I've never felt like I've been a victim of pay to win. usually because of the ranking system and the way it works is that you're really facing the competition that are on the equal playing level. It's not really the cards you have, it's how well you play the game. Tavern brawls, I absolutely love tavern brawls. They're a fun way of playing Hearthstone that you don't traditionally get to play. Like one of them was where everybody had the same creature, and that creature had like an ability that you can choose a different effect, and it created like a great environment to play, and it was everybody's on a level playing field because you all have the same decks, and it's really the way you play the game that determines if you win or lose. There's a new tavern ball every week. Sometimes they're really fun, other times they're like meh, but you get a free pack each week if you get your first win in Tavern Brawl, so that's really great. I love it that there's no mana screw. With Hearthstone, you go up one crystal each turn, and you get to use your crystals as you see fit. If you have 2 crystals and you have a few cards that cost 2, great, you can use that. Or even if you don't have a card that costs 2, your ability does cost 2, so you can use that as a buffer. And I mentioned like the hero abilities are another pro. It gives a distinct playstyle to each of the heroes, and it makes it so that you're not always technically playing the same deck, just with a different avatar. Like if you want to play the mage, the fireball ability can factor into your tactics and how you play. Conversely, if you play the warlock, where you're paying 2 life and two of your crystals to draw a card, it really creates different play styles. And again, the speed of the games are great. So I mentioned that in my con list, where I said the turn time limits could sometimes be a bit short, depending on if you have a packed turn that you have a lot of things to do, but in general, like the actual speed of the games is dictated because there's a time limit. Whereas if you play Magic the Gathering online, sometimes it can take a bit long, and obviously there is a counter there too, but the time is structured differently. And I love that I can play Hearthstone on the go, on the train, on the plane, wherever that you have an internet connection. You can just fire up, and you don't need a buddy to come over or go to a friend's house or go to a local game store. You can just kind of just play wherever you are. I don't think there's much that can beat that. Obviously, I would love to see Wizards implement something similar. Maybe it's in the roadmap, but for now, that's I think one of the shining reasons that it being free to play. Like you're not spending any money to play this game, so it's great. And because of that, it's a really easy setup. You literally fire up your app. Whether it's on your computer or on your mobile device, you're ready to go in seconds. And the next pro, I guess my last pro for this video, because we're getting a bit lengthy, is that there's no real chat feature. So you can emote back and forth, but there's no harassment from other players. You play your game and that's pretty much it. Like obviously if you friend somebody, you can chat back and forth, but you dictate what's being said. You've seen it, or if you haven't, good, because it's not usually enjoyable, but like on Magic Online, where if you happen to have a really good draw and the other person gets really salty and they start verbally attacking you for no reason, it's like, come on, I don't need to deal with that crap. And it's good that Blizzard has taken this design choice and this decision to not have a chat feature associated with Hearthstone. I think you can pretty much convey what you want through the actual emotes that are available to use. There's no reason to actually include a chat feature. So that's it. Those are my pros and cons for why I play Hearthstone and why you should maybe give it a chance. If you guys have anything to add on the matter, please feel free to comment. I would love to hear it.